Are you still trying to study with textbooks? Are you still doing online training but being explained the whole concept as opposed to intricate details? Do you battle with studying? Is studying a grind? If it is, I've got something for you. A couple of months ago, I had to attend a parent-teacher conference at my daughter's school. The teacher was explaining how wonderful my daughter's been and the progress that she's made through the term. She did mention something, however, that caught my attention. She said that my daughter only likes to respond to certain questions when she's 100% sure of the answer. She's very reserved. She keeps the opinions to herself and the thought to herself. Only when she's sure of the answer is she willing to actually verbalize, "This is what I think." It struck a light bulb because that's exactly how I was growing up. It's how I am today. Any exploration or fear of verbalizing what you think can cripple your learning effect. This is not only applicable to children, this is applicable to adults as well. We all know the usual story. If you've got something new to study, it normally starts in one of a few ways. These days, we're heavily reliant on online training, e-learning, LMS, whatever you want to call it. But the reality is you start with this platform, you've got to find your way around it, you explain things in various modules or segments, there's quizzes, and it's wonderful for explaining the entire concept. Does it work for everyone? I'm not so sure. I've spent the last 6 years developing online courses for a flight simulator training center. I've sold over 3,500 online courses between 2019 and 2025. It was a wonderful experience. I learned a huge amount, and it took me down a rabbit hole of learning. How do people learn? Why do some people learn better than others? And I discovered that we all learn in different ways. Online training allows you to use audio, video, presentations, and by having a nice mix of those things, we're able to reach a wider audience. In other words, cater for a wider learning group. That was the old way. I come from an airline training background. We train pilots on how to operate new aircraft safely and efficiently. The pilot training process is similar to any training process, any industry, anywhere around the world, containing all different types of learning: ground school, online training, practical simulator training, and then inevitably ending up in the real aircraft. It's a major process that takes a lot of time. When I was designing the online training courses, I designed them in a way that I knew would have a big impact, because that type of material that I was producing was mainly video, it was mainly speech, talking. It was appealing to me. That type of media has a big impact on the way I learn, so it was heavily focused on that direction. But what if you aren't one of those people? There must be a better way. There now is. Enter Notebook LM. It's a Google product. It is a game changer when it comes to learning. It will revolutionize the way children learn. It will revolutionize the way we learn. Why? Because we can ask it the questions that we want to ask and not be worried about what the LM might think. So imagine uploading all the documents, files, websites, you name it, applicable to the subject that you want to learn. You upload it to the notebook, and then it acts as your personal large language model, if you want to call it that. Except when you ask it a question, it's only going to give you prompts and answers from the material that you have provided. It's not going to scratch the internet for something that's not applicable to what you are trying to learn. We've all been through that phase on ChatGPT and DeepSeek. Sometimes it gives you an answer that, yeah, it was good, but it's not really what you were after. The Notebook LM controls that because you control the input data. Let's have a look at the Notebook LM. So this is the application that you can download off Google. You can use the web-based version as well. They're pretty similar. But what I love is this layout. It is just so neat, clean, easy on the eye. And for explanation purposes here, I'm going to use a notebook that I created for the airline industry. And that notebook is called the Smart Approach for the Embraer 145. I designed this notebook to incorporate my 22 years in the aviation industry. All my briefing notes, anything I collected from old simulator sessions, any check rides I had over the years, it's all in this notebook. And of course, anything applicable, in this case, to the Embraer 145 SOPs, they've all been thrown in here. And you'll notice that this notebook, and all the notebooks, are divided into 3 sections. I'll start here on this section on the left. Here we have our sources. What's nice here is you can add in Google Docs, Google Slides, you can add URLs from websites, YouTube videos, any copy-pasted text that you want to put in there. Basically, any file that you have, you can throw in the sources column there. Anything up to 50 sources, which is a lot. You see, I've loaded 44 sources there. Here in the middle, you've got your chat. We'll go into more detail on that shortly. And then on your right-hand side, you've got your studio or your output section. Now, this is the real interesting section because this is where you can collect all your information that you get from your notebook. But let's go back to the chat here and let's explain it from this point of view. Let's ask it a question that might not make sense to all the listeners, but certainly will the pilots. Right, how do I fly an ILS approach in the 145? And there you have it. An ILS provides precision vertical and horizontal guidance during an approach. So extremely accurate here. Why is it accurate? Because it's only taking the data that I gave it. It's not scraping the internet for any old rubbish. This is data applicable to the subject that you are actually using. And if you find that bit of information that you've just checked on useful, you can actually save it as a note. So let's do that. We save it as a note, and there it is. It's now in the output section in my studio here for reference at any other point. What is quite useful as well, if I feel that that note that I've just downloaded will benefit the notebook as a whole, I can add this back in as a source. In this case, it's not necessary. It's there for future reference later on. And you can go wild with the questions. Now, we all learn in different ways. So if chatting is not your preferred method, there's this wonderful system over here, which is basically the sort of a mind map. That is just, it's a button, one push, and it creates this beautifully manicured mind map of all your information. And if I go across, let's have a look at, let's just click on normal procedures here, and let's look at originating flow. Now it's finding the information for me. It's scraping my sources to get the information. And there it is, based on the sources, the originating flow, and it goes on and on and on. It's a wonderful way to learn. Now, like I said, what I like about this is you've got your standard audio and video that you'll find on normal online courses, but now you've added in this chat functionality so you can ask a question 24 hours a day, something pops up in your head, your instructor, your lecturer, they might not be available. They're certainly not going to answer your call at 2 o'clock in the morning, but you might have a question. Well, go onto your computer and go and ask the question. Easy as that. That was one example of the mind map, but it's got other options as well over here. Let's have a look here. We've got, we can add a note. We can ask it for a study guide. It's got a briefing document. It even creates a question and answer bank for you if you like. And then, of course, it's got this wonderful timeline. The timeline is a very useful thing, particularly for an aviator, because what it does, it breaks down all those documents into a timeline. Where do we start? Which one do we do first? In aviation, we call this a sequence of events. Highly, highly useful, particularly when you're dealing with a big mass of data. So let's have a look. There it is. There's a timeline. It starts with the pre-flights, and I'm sure it'll go across to engine start, yes, and then taxi, takeoff, climb, cruise, descent, approach, and landing. You are able to save that as a note and even add it back in to the sources. Now, I'm sure you wowed by what you've seen there, but that is nothing yet. Let's have a look at something that is truly remarkable. Me being a podcaster, I find massive value in podcasting. I love listening to podcasts. I tend to learn a lot by hearing people speak to each other. Let's see this Notebook LM can do for us.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping onto the flight deck, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, we're looking at how flight crews actually operate day to day.
We got a whole stack of materials here, briefing guides, SOPs for Embraer jets,
The 135 and 145 specifically, yeah.
explanations of techniques like constant descent, final approach, even emergency procedures.
And navigation too.
So there you have it. I mean, unbelievable. It's on the free version, and you can listen to it in the car going to work, before your lecture in the morning, whatever you're doing. It's your own podcast with your own data. It's got an interactive mode as well, which is in beta. Let's have a look at what that does.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping onto the flight deck, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, we're looking, oh, hey, our listener wants to join in. What's up?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to go into a bit more detail, please, on ILS approaches.
Absolutely. ILS, the Instrument Landing System, is a precision approach.
Provides both vertical and horizontal guidance to the runway.
The sources we looked at really highlight how crucial understanding it is.
So what are the key components of an ILS?
Well, you've got the localizer for that side-to-side guidance.
Keeps you lined up with the runway center line.
I think it's remarkable. It's going to change the way we brief. It's going to change the way we lecture. Most importantly, it's going to change the way we learn, because it's able to tap into what works best for the learner. Is it that audio? Is it the interactive mode? Is it the chat function? Is it the mind map? Whatever it is, Notebook LM has it. This isn't something for the future. This is available today, and it's free. You simply have to try it, whether you're a learner wanting to learn something new, whether you're a creator wanting to express yourself and pass on your knowledge to others. This is without doubt the most exciting tool that I've come across in the education space in the last 10 years. It's a wonderful piece of tech. It's easy to use, and it's a no-brainer. Get on Notebook LM, try it out. You simply won't regret it. If you want access to my Embraer 145, the smart approach, you can check out the show notes. Stop drowning in information. Put all your information in your notebook. You control the output. Let it control the data so you can ask it the right questions to get the right answer.